Greetings, adventurers! Welcome to another episode of the Paranormal Industrial Complex. My name is Dallas Deluxe, and today, astute viewers are probably noticing we're doing things a little bit differently today. Oh yes, switching it up from the normal moto vlog. Today we're going to do a bike-o vlog, mountain bike-o vlog. We're not technically in the mountains, but that's okay. So let's check it out. Also, in the spirit of doing things a little bit differently today, up till now, we've been talking about things long ago and far away. Today we're going to talk about things a little closer to home, a little more personal. So today we're going to talk about the mystery of Vanessa and the big man. Who's Vanessa? I don't know. Who's the big man? No idea. Why am I talking about him? You're going to find out right now. Now, to make a very, very long story short, I've been living in this town for 4 or 5 years, and I kind of moved here, not on a whim, but sight unseen, you know what I mean? Kind of threw a dart to get here. So, suffice it to say, when I moved here, there was a little bit of psychic unrest, you know what I mean? Whenever you're moving 400 miles away to a place you've never been before, hey man, there's going to be some psychic unrest. Now, a lot of it seemed to have a locus, seemed to be focused on my closet. If I had to put an area that it was centered on, that would be it. Now, in an earlier video, I talk about vortices and how vortices are kind of a thin wall between this world and the next. And that's kind of what how I see my closet operating. Anyway, one day I was sitting in my kitchen, bing, and this is more or less what I saw. And I was standing there, and it had been kind of a long day. So I was just kind of tired, just kind of spacing out. I was chopping vegetables, and I was looking out over the living room. And I don't know, I guess I kind of went into a trance. Anyway, as I was standing there chopping, I saw this dude seemingly walk right through the wall. He was big. He was big boned. He was tall. He was bald. Looked about middle-aged. And he was just standing there. Just standing. He was staring at me. Just staring. Now, for a second, kind of thought it might be my roommate because that's not an entirely inaccurate description of him. That's sort of what he looks like, but not really. But, I was focused on the vegetables, so, one could forgive me for, not being totally accurate with the description. But still, there it was. Now, as he was staring, I was pretty much had it up, and I was about to look up and be like, bro, what are you staring at? When all of a sudden, from my right side, who walks in the room but my roommate? And there was this terrifying moment where there was one version of him here and another version of him here. And I'm looking at these two things, two versions of what look like more or less the same person. And I was like, WTF, man, what is going on here? And then finally, I tried to look dead at, the other, the big man, and he was gone. He did not exist. I was like, well, what just happened here, man? What just went on? I'm not sure what is going on around this place. He just blinked out of existence, and my roommate was looking at me like I had just seen a ghost, which was pretty much true. That's more or less what I thought it was. I was like, what is going on? Now, that was already weird enough. That was one of the weirder things I've experienced in the last dozen years or so. But it gets weirder still when you realize that was not the first time. Or rather, that was the first time. It was not the last time. probably for the next several nights, I would not see, but sense this guy, same entity, come out of my closet. I'd be laying in bed. I would sense him into the room. Okay? Now, he has a particular aura about him. Not something you could see, it's something you could sense. You know how it is. You know when somebody's looking at you. You know when somebody else enters the room. You know when there's another presence nearby. That's what it's like when you sense another intelligence in your proximity. And this intelligence was looking at me every night, emerging from the closet, looking at me. Now, as a side note, I've always maintained that there are every person has several outer entities attached to them. Now, usually good, maybe, neutral, hopefully not bad, although sometimes they'll pick up a bad one. This one was not one of mine. It had nothing to do with me. It was not one I recognized. Now, but it got this overwhelming, two things I got off this entity. Number one, the overwhelming sense of sort of melancholy and regret, and an overwhelming sense of yearning, of looking for someone. And it was dead obvious who he was looking for. Vanessa. Who's Vanessa? Honestly, I don't know. She was a tenant before me. She lived in the house that I live in now before I got there. And I got the feeling that she had to leave in a hurry and probably not under the best of circumstances. At least judging by the mail that I would often get, and her name, and the repo man that showed up at my door one day. Anyway, finally, after about 5 nights of this, I finally just had to get out of bed and talk to this entity, more or less face to face. Please don't kill me. And tell him, hey, look, bro, I don't know who you are, but you're not one of mine. You're obviously looking for Vanessa, so you need to roll on. She's gone, dog. Don't know where she went. Don't know under what circumstances, but you're going to have to go find her because you can't stay here. It's just too freaky. This is a court. So, this is what I'm looking for. So, it went on for another couple days. He kind of half-hearted attempts to, come through the closet once or twice more. But, man, did I take a wrong freaking turn. But it was never the same. It was obvious Vanessa had moved on, and so he moved on. And that was the end of the story. Now, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. I've kind of shut off that part of my life because it just got too weird. But that's part one of the story. Story goes on. That's the story, my friends. That is the story of Vanessa and the big man. Now, just as a side note, there's a reason why I have this channel. Okay, everybody who's into these sort of phenomenon and who talks about it, 99% of the time, 100% of the time, they're experiencers. They are not just fans or interested parties. They are experiencers. I am an experiencer. And that's the story about how I experienced Vanessa and the big man. This is Dallas Deluxe. Have yourself a great day. I'm going to go have myself a great day. No more ghosts today. We're having fun. Check it.